Christian Lord, guide my hand against your Roman popery.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline. As always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and drop a like on this video. I would very much appreciate it. Well, guys, as you can see in front of me today, I have another review for you, and this is the Present Toys Bill the Butcher, aka the New York Butcher, and this is the SP48 version. There are two versions. I do have the other one in hand. I will be doing a review following this one on that one as well. But this is that SP48 version. This is the green coat kind of street brawler look. So if you're here to see this version, you've come to the right place. I do want to let you guys know that the packaging is almost identical between this and the SP49, the red coat version. There's just a sticker on the box letting you know which version it is on the back, which I'll show you as we take a quick tour around the packaging here. We have an awesome shot here of Bill the Butcher, played by, my favorite actor, if you guys know me, Daniel Day-Lewis, looking absolutely awesome there. I love the kind of New York gang in the background with the American flag and everything. Really nicely done. Of course, you do have your New York Butcher text on the front, 1/6 scale collectible figure. Towards the bottom, it does say New York Butcher as well, with that kind of American flag theme throughout. Moving to the side, it just says Present Toys. On the other side, it is the same as well. And then moving around to the back, you have your warning text, of course. A really cool detail there. Gangs of New York listed on the box. They don't care about nothing. With the font inside of Bill the Butcher's hat silhouette there. Moving towards the bottom, as you can see, there is a sticker. This is a sticker applied to the box. Smart of them to do because the box is identical apart from this sticker here between the two versions. So that's what I'm talking about. You have your PT-SP48. But now, as always, let me take the foam insert out of the packaging and we'll see how it arrives to you when it lands on your doorstep. Okay, really quickly, as you can see, I have both of the foam inserts removed from that art box that I just showed you. But now, as always, let me take the figure and all of the accessories out of the packaging and we'll take a closer look at all of the details. Really quickly, as you can see, I have all of the accessories here laid out on the table in front of me, but of course now let's take a closer look at each accessory individually. Do you hear that? Well guys, first things first, as I always say, I'd love to see a bare minimum of 8 hands, so this one does not pass that test for me. However, I do want to point out, I do think these are very nicely painted. I think this is on par with the recent paint jobs with Present Toys, and I'm overall very pleased with it. If we get a little bit closer up, you can kind of get an idea of what the paint is looking like. Is it quite like Hot Toys or in-art quality? Of course not. However, I think for the price, you're getting a really solid paint job here. I will say I wish there was more of a variety of hands. As you can see as I flip through these, they're all some sort of grasping hands, as you can see. Nothing too special about them. It's really the same two hands mirrored on both sides. I definitely would have preferred to see more. Again, I really think most companies should do more with the amount of hands that they include because it really adds to all the different posable options with these figures. He comes with all these different knives. I don't know if each one's going to fit well on each hand. That really remains to be seen, but that's all I have to say about the hands. I figure we might as well do the display stand next. So as you can see, we have a normal oval style display stand here that we typically see from Present Toys. I really love this Gangs of New York logo here. I think that's pretty clever. Obviously, it's in the shape of the silhouette of Bill the Butcher's top hat. And overall, I think that's very cool. This is, of course, a decal on top of a plastic base, so nothing special, but overall, I think it gets the job done. And I do kind of prefer these smaller bases just to make it fit a little easier in your display. So overall, definitely a pretty neat looking display base. Next, as you can see, we have the severed pig head that Bill sends as a gift, and it comes bearing a note, "Today from B," obviously talking about Bill the Butcher. Now this also does include, before we go into detail fully on this, it includes the tray that it was sitting on from the film. I don't remember it being fully brown in the film. I think this is a quite different looking tray. However, it's obviously for the effect. This is a third-party figure, so I'm not going to complain too much about this. This is made of real wood, which is very cool. I'm happy to see that Present Toys continues to do stuff like that. So let's move that back out of the way, and we'll take a closer look here at the detail on this pig head. As you can see, moving it around, there's some nice blood detail. It's actually pretty nicely painted. I really don't have any complaints about how it's painted. If we get even closer, you can see there's some gloss on the eyeballs like you would normally see from a human head sculpt. Moving around to the back, if you're squeamish, skip over this part. As you can see, we kind of have that fleshy look on the back where the head was separated from the pig's body. Overall, I think this is very nice looking. I don't know how many people would use this accessory just because it's kind of gory in your display, and a lot of people might not be a fan of that. I do want to point out as well, the nail and the note here come in a little baggie. You may have seen it in the beginning accessory portion of the video. Of course, it does not come pre-installed because that would probably get damaged in the packaging. There is a little hole there and you just kind of pin the nail inside of there, of course, with the paper underneath of it. But overall, I think this is a pretty neat looking accessory. It does go really well with that tray in the display. And I don't know how many people are going to use it, like I said, but I think this is pretty neat. Quite simply, this is Bill the Butcher's pipe. Nothing special about it. As you can see, it's just painted a white color. Nothing too crazy. I'm not going to say much else about it, but it's a pipe. Next, we have this glass of whiskey or bourbon here. This looks like the same one that came with Jack Torrance. It very well may be. However, I don't have a complaint about that. It's just a glass of whiskey at the end of the day. I think it looks pretty good. And as you can see, it looks like real liquor in there. Next, unfortunately, we have Bill's top hat. Gotta be honest with you guys, this is probably one of the most disappointing accessories from Present Toys in a while, especially considering this is a clothing accessory. I know in this particular version, a lot of people won't use this. However, I'm really confused by the sculpt. I mean, you can see, why is that ribbon on the side there so thick? I don't know. It doesn't look very good, guys, and you'll see on the figure later in this video, it doesn't look good on the figure either. There's definitely some texture sculpted in there. I can appreciate that, but the ribbon is just, yeah, that's a huge fail. I won't be using this hat. I will be seeking out some third-party options. However, of course, I have to show it to you in the video. It is hollow on the inside. You can see that's kind of where they pulled it off the mold there. Definitely very disappointing and very unlike the prototype, so not too happy about this one. Next, we do have a club. I believe this is the same one that he used to finish off the politician when he said, "Notch 45." This is really cool, guys. Overall, I think it's pretty nicely done, pretty nicely painted. If we get a little bit closer, as you can see, there is a real, I would guess it's leather handle or some other type of material. Present Toys has been pretty good lately about not using pleather. As you can see, there's some detail sculpted into the wood. Overall, I think this looks pretty good. I have no complaints about it. Probably won't use it with this particular version because it doesn't make sense to me. However, I think this is very cool. Next, nothing special, guys. We have this little sash belt piece that goes around his waist. It does have little tassels on the end, which is pretty cool. Nothing else to say about it. It's nicely stitched, and it looks pretty decent. Finally, we have what I believe to be the best accessory, the shining accessory of this set, and that is Butcher's knife belt here. If we get closer up, as you can see, it's really, really nicely stitched and overall very nicely tailored here. Now, what I do want to point out that's really, really special is all of these knives seem to be real metal and wood, which is really, really cool. Now, believe it or not, they are very difficult to remove. However, each one of these blades are removable. I'm going to do it off of camera so I can show you guys some of the blades because it is very difficult to get out, especially on camera, and I don't want to waste any more of your time. But give me 1 second. Let me pull some of the blades out so we can take a closer look at how those are done. Okay, now I've pulled 3 of the blades off of the belt. Now, as you can see, these are very beautifully done. A really nice finish on the blades. You have a ground-in edge on the cleaver in each one of these knives. Just overall, really nicely done. And again, to me, the scales here on the handle feel like real wood. If not, they did a great job replicating it. Overall, I'm very happy with these, especially the cleaver, because obviously the cleaver is kind of his signature blade as we see throughout the film. Definitely really, really nicely done, and I love the die-cast elements. I think they feel really quality in hand, and overall, I think that really brings this accessory, being the belt, to the next level. I'm very, very happy with this. I did not expect die-cast or real wood, so this is certainly a pleasant surprise. I'm very happy with these, and I think you guys will be as well if you pick up this figure. But guys, that is going to wrap up the accessory portion of the video, believe it or not. Now, let me grab Bill the Butcher, the SP48 New York Butcher by Present Toys, and let's see what we think of him. Okay, now here we are with Bill the Butcher. As always, guys, I'll give you a complete 360 of the figure. I know a lot of you are saying, oh, take the coat off. We want to see it without the coat. Don't you worry, I will do that. But of course, this is the default configuration when he arrives to you in the packaging. I will say the height looks correct to me. Daniel Day-Lewis is a tall guy, and of course, being that he's a tall guy, you will have a taller body for the figure. So overall, I'm pretty happy about that. Now let me do a quick rotation though, so we can kind of get an idea of the proportions and everything with the coat on. Of course, I will zoom in and get a little bit closer. I really do think the proportions look pretty solid, and I saw a couple photos online with the long coat removed, and I think the proportions are pretty solid. So now let me get a little bit closer, guys, and don't you worry, we'll definitely get a close-up on this head sculpt. As you can see under that coat, you have a really nicely tailored set of clothing there. And I think the colors are pretty accurate to the movie as well, from what I can remember. Overall, I think he looks pretty solid in the tailoring department. Down here, guys, this does feel like the real leather that Present Toys is known for using. Of course, I'm not positive on that, but if I had to guess, I would say that it's probably real leather. It's a bit stiffer than pleather as well. I'll get even closer so you can get a closer up look at that. Really nicely tailored once again. There is stitching across the front of those leather pieces or pleather pieces, whatever they are, and I think it looks pretty good. As we get closer onto the feet there, as you can see on the side of the shoe, there's some pretty noticeable seam lines. Definitely not going to ruin the figure for me by any means, but pretty interesting to see considering the previous figures from them I have not seen this on. Overall, though, I think they're saved by this nice weathering they did on the shoes, as well as the really nicely painted silver eyelets there where the strings are. Overall, I really don't have too many complaints about how the shoes look. And as you can see, there is weathering on the bottom of the soles as well. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how he looks. I know you guys are dying to see a close-up of the head sculpt here, so I will get close-up on the sculpt so we can take a look at it. Now, the first thing that I don't like about this sculpt that I want to point out, guys, as you can see, as we get closer, you can see the curls on the end of the mustache are actually separate pieces. So there's a noticeable seam line there. Not sure why they went that route. I remember in the prototype photos that was not present. Does it ruin the look completely from far back? Absolutely not. As you can see, they're really way less noticeable from far back, but as you get close up and when you guys see this in person, you can see that it's pretty noticeable up front. However, I do want to point out this is a very nice sculpt, and guys, I know if you collect those custom figures, you're going to tell me this is a recast. I am very aware, so yes, this is a recasted sculpt, so shout out to the original sculptor of this. They did a fantastic job. This is a recast by Present Toys. Overall, though, I think the likeness is very good. Now, I will point out, too, in that eye there, I believe in the film it was like an eagle inside of his eye embedded in his dead eyeball there. Here, you could just kind of see it looks like a blind eye, so not quite what it looked like in those prototype photos. I imagine that's either the custom sculpt that they're showing there or some sort of Photoshop. However, that doesn't totally ruin the sculpt for me. I think it definitely looks very much like Daniel Day-Lewis, and I think it's sculpted very well. And as you can see, that kind of cap that he has on is very nicely sculpted and very nicely painted as well, with some weathering throughout it, looking very nice overall. And I do think that the paint work is very nicely done as well. Overall, guys, I'm very pleased with the paint work from Present Toys lately, and there's no exception here on this one. I think they did a great job. So overall, I think he looks pretty solid. Now, give me one moment, guys. I do want to grab this hat here, because I know you guys are very curious as to what it looks like with the hat. Once again, guys, the hat to me looks really bad. If you have no plans of putting the hat on this figure, I could see why you wouldn't care, because honestly, the most iconic look for this character in that scene where he fights Amsterdam's father, he's not wearing the hat as he's battling, so I know a lot of people won't care about that. However, I just think this hat is really, really goofy looking, and again, that ribbon to me just looks so bad. So ditch the hat, I think run it with just the cap on, and it looks way better. That would be my preferred look for this one anyway. But like I said, I am planning on getting a third-party custom hat to make this one that much better. Really quickly though, guys, I did promise I would take this overcoat off, so let me pull that off and show you what he looks like without the overcoat on. Okay, and here we are with the overcoat taken off, and again, I'm very happy with how these proportions turned out. They picked a nice, tall, slender body for this figure, and I think it very much looks like Daniel Day-Lewis in The Gangs of New York. Overall, this is really nicely done. As you can see, once again, proportions are pretty solid. I do want to point out also the vest is very nicely tailored. This long sleeve shirt is very nicely tailored overall. I really could not be more pleased with how that looks. And once again, guys, as I pointed out from further back, that mustache really does not look bad, but close up in person, definitely noticeable. But overall, guys, I'm very pleased, and this is definitely my preferred look for this version of the character. And really quickly, while I have him here, we might as well run through the articulation. You can get an easy full 360 out of the head sculpt, forward and backward. The neck does move a little bit as well because it is a rubber neck. In terms of the shoulder joints, easy full 90. The elbows are double jointed. You can butterfly them out as well, no issues. Of course, the hands, guys, they do have that peg in there that we're used to, so you can rotate it a full 360 and move it forward and backward as well. Just be very careful not to break that peg as always. The abdominals, there's next to no ab crunch there. This is such a tall figure. I think the abdomen is pretty solid because of that, so just keep that in mind. In terms of the waist articulation, you can get the legs kind of as high as the pants will allow you. They are a tighter pair of pants, so just be careful not to rip the seam or anything when you're doing that. I'm not going to push my personal copy, but just keep that in mind. The knees, you can bend a full 90. Again, I'm not going to push my copy because it has this leather here and I don't want to risk creasing it or anything like that because I don't want to mess with the look, but just keep in mind that is possible. And also, guys, with the feet, really no restriction there. As you can see, there's a bit of a gap, so it allows for any articulation you could really want. But with that being said, now let me throw him in a couple poses. I'll share my final thoughts and we'll close out this video. Well, first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to 16kit for always getting my figures to me fast and in great shape. Overall, guys, I think this is a pretty solid release from Present Toys. Of course, I'm not happy with how they did the mustache, and the hat absolutely stinks. However, beyond that, I think this is pretty awesome. I'm very happy to own a version of this character. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and I am out.